What's up, YouTube? Today we're going to be talking about the Moondrop Edge, a new set of active noise-canceling wireless headphones from Moondrop that come in at just $80. In this video, we'll be going over the Moondrop Edge in terms of build quality, battery life, features and ANC performance, app integration, and of course, sound quality. Before we get into the review, I want to give a quick disclaimer that my review unit was sent out to me by Shenzhen Audio. As always, I'm not being paid to make this review, and my thoughts and opinions are my own. With that out of the way, let's get into the review. The Moondrop Edge comes in a largish box with a fairly tasteful anime waifu illustration on the front panel. Apart from the headphones themselves and the usual assortment of user manuals, quality control pass chits, and warranty information, you just get a pleather drawstring storage bag and a USB-A to USB-C cable. The Moondrop Edge does support C2C charging and is advertised as having fast charging. Moondrop does not specify what charging protocol the Edge uses for fast charging or what the maximum charging speed is, but I've been using it with a 45-watt USB power delivery charger, and it charges very quickly. The Moondrop Edge also has exceptional battery life. I have not been tracking the battery life diligently, but what I can say is that after having had the Edge on hand for about a month or so, and using it most days for a few hours at a time, I've only had to charge it once, at around the 2-week mark. Moondrop advertises the Edge as having 48 hours of battery life, which sounds very plausible to me. Let's talk about build quality next. For $80, I think the build quality is fine. The one really noticeable weak point is the hinges, which are kind of creaky and have evident play as you rotate the ear cups around. Other than that, I'm very satisfied with the Moondrop Edge in terms of build. The gray plastic that Moondrop has used for the ear cup housings feels very solid, and the ear pad and headband cushions feel very high quality and don't give the impression that they're going to fall apart immediately. It's unclear whether the pads are replaceable, and I suspect that they aren't, but this material doesn't seem like it's going to wear out in the same way that HD600 stock ear pads might. Honestly, for $80, I feel that your long-term maintenance options are probably going to be limited. Let's talk about comfort. I think that for a closed-back headset, these are pretty comfortable. The ear pads are large enough that I don't feel like my ears are getting squished, and I don't notice any hot spots on the headband. I do feel like the clamp force is a little excessive for truly long-term use, but I'm also not used to wearing closed-back headphones regularly anymore, so this might just be a me problem. If you've made it this far into the video, please do me a favor by giving this video a like and subscribing to the channel if you haven't already. It really helps the channel grow, and I would really appreciate it. In addition to being a closed-back set of headphones with very respectable passive noise isolation, these do boast some pretty impressive ANC capabilities. I've used these at very busy coffee shops and been quite pleased with the isolation they offer with ANC on. There is also a transparency mode, which is pretty good, but not quite as impressive as the noise-canceling mode. The Moondrop Edge has the level of integration with the Moondrop Link app that I expect from Moondrop's modern Bluetooth offerings. You get in-app control over ANC, the gain level of the onboard amplifiers, which is set to high by default, EQ presets, and the option to update the Edge's firmware. One thing that I want to highlight is that the Edge does not use LDAC by default, and you will need to toggle this on inside the app. As for the EQ presets, I found that I liked the extra bass preset the most, as I actually felt that it was ironically more balanced sounding than the balance EQ preset. On that note, let's talk about sound quality. This is going to be a little different in terms of format compared to one of my IEM reviews, as I don't have a measurement rig for over-ear headphones. Therefore, my impressions are going to be purely subjective. I do encourage you to look for measurements of the Moondrop Edge from other reviewers, as there are a few of them on Squiglink. As far as those measurements go, I will just say that they're pretty much in line with what I hear, which is that this is a largely correct-sounding headphone tuned in accordance with modern academic sound targets. The bass is sub-bass focused, and there's an elevated ear gain region in the appropriate spot in the frequency response. Personally, I think this is the minimum standard we should hold for any set of headphones in 2025, but it's nice to see this standard being met by such an affordable pair of closed-back headphones. As far as my subjective impressions of sound quality are concerned, I have very few negative things to say about this headphone, particularly for the price point. The bass is well extended, tactile, impactful, and surprisingly detailed. Bass articulation is nimble and not sluggish at all. Mid-range clarity and instrument separation are pretty good, and while there is some soundstage congestion, it's surprisingly minimal for a set of budget closed-back headphones. Vocals are clear, but there's just a hint of sibilance to some female vocals. Male vocals have a good level of warmth and body to them, but they're not very detailed. In fact, I'd say that the biggest subjective issue with these headphones that separate them from more expensive headsets would be the relative lack of mid-range detail. This can cause analog percussion in particular to sound a little bit flat and dull. In terms of tonal balance, I feel like there's an appropriate level of presence relative to the rest of the frequency response, and I think the distorted electric guitars have the correct level of energy to my ears. Overall, I'd say that mid-range timbre is very good, with no obvious coloration. While the treble is not harsh sounding at all, there is a surprising amount of resolution to cymbal crashes, and treble transients sound very natural to me. The level of detail retrieval is not going to rival a wired set of planar headphones like the Moondrop Para or a comparable set from Hi-Fi Man like the Sundaras, but for a pair of $80 closed-back wireless headphones, I was impressed. Honestly, I think that pretty much sums up this review in terms of my conclusions. I think that for a style of headphones that often struggles to please the audiophiles, and more often than not features grotesque, excessively bassy tunings, the Moondrop Edge is a breath of fresh air and is worth picking up if you're looking for a new pair of wireless headphones for your commute. Just to give you guys a heads up, I'm not sure how common headphone reviews are going to be on this channel going forward. I've been reviewing headphones and IEMs since 2016, and I think it's time to take a break from headphone reviewing so that I can take some time to enjoy my favorite sets, rather than constantly moving from one review pair to the next. With that said, this is definitely not the end of Bedrock Reviews. I have plenty of other expensive hobbies, and I'm excited to make more videos about cameras, photography, and filmmaking on this channel, as that's really where my passion is right now. I appreciate all of you, whether you've been following my reviews since my days on HeadFi, or if you just started tuning in. Until next time, this is Bedrock Reviews, signing off.